Linda, it's so good to have you back here at Just Breathe in Crest Hill. We're going to talk a little bit about the teacher training that we have scheduled for this October. I wanted to ask you, how did you come to the all-embracing method of training?
Oh, that's a great story. So we sat around at Prairie and we looked at the applicants that come to our teacher training. We realized that there was an inherent skill level that they had, and that perhaps there was people that might be interested in teacher training that maybe had some reasons, physical reasons that they felt like they weren't able to. So Lori said, Linda, with your expertise in therapeutic skills, would you be willing to break the poses down and come up with adaptations that would be appropriate for us to do the whole training, but do it in such a way that we adapt to people of all abilities? And I thought this was a great idea. So I spent the entire summer, another co-teacher, Dukar and myself, spent the summer breaking down all the poses in our pose list, which is expansive, as you know, and said, how would we do this if somebody had a shoulder injury or wrist injury or knee concerns or anything like that? And so I got to brainstorm and figure out ways to support people at whatever they were doing at that time.
So aside from the fact that when you have a teacher training, you get this amazing manual, what you've basically done in this one then is expand the way the poses are taught.
Well, yes, because generally speaking, they're taught with in the regular teacher trainings, they're taught with an alignment, and there are adaptations if someone needs them. But actually, I've kind of flip-flopped that approach, and I look at teaching the adaptations, whether they need them for themselves, or I'm making the assumption that they might want to work with students who have these difficulties as their students. So I make that, that intention.
So the benefit for the teachers is they'll come out of this training, and when they're faced with their first basic class where someone has a knee, someone has a shoulder, someone has a wrist.
Right, they'll have the tools and they'll be able to give the adaptations and almost effortlessly. And I think that's a key thing. Some people through the years have told me there's nothing worse than going to a yoga class and the teacher goes, well, I don't know what to do for you, kind of thing. And then you feel very self-conscious and maybe you don't return, right? Because you get this idea that, well, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible, I'm not strong enough, I'm not something enough. And I was like, oh, no. We meet them where they are, and we let them do whatever they need to do for themselves.
And that's why I'm excited about this training, because our philosophy here at Just Breathe is the same thing. Yoga is literally for everybody.
Exactly.
And we make sure to meet you wherever you're standing on that mat, whether you need an adaptation, whether you need to have a little extra attention to any particular condition. We want you to feel comfortable here. We like to call this your yoga home.
That's great. And I think that's one of the things that the all-embracing approach does is I'm hoping that I create a comfortable atmosphere for everyone to do whatever they need to do to take care of themselves and also to excel in their progress, right? And so that's an important thing as well. And my personal motto has always been, yoga meets you where you are. And so when we were kind of brainstorming this, I was like, oh, this so aligns with who I am and how I teach. And I've had a lot of injuries through the years, and I not only use my therapeutic skills to help myself, but that's the way I teach.
Absolutely. So if a person was not interested in teaching but just wanted to know more for themselves.
That's the beauty of the Prairie Yoga program, because it's so rich with philosophy, history, the sutras, the yamas, the niyamas. It has so much more than one limb, which is the asana, right?
Yes.
It's so much more than that. That even if you didn't want to teach, what a great opportunity to really delve deeper into your practice and ask the questions that you might have been curious about on the mat, but didn't want to interrupt the teacher or felt like that wasn't the place to ask.
And that's, I think, as a studio owner, one of the hazards, because they're a significant part of my population that come for the asana. They come for the stretch.
Right.
So when you get the students that are interested in going a little deeper, why
Right.
do you use Sanskrit? Why do we do a meditation?
It piques their interest, right?
What's with this pranayama breathing stuff?
Right, right. Some people just want to gloss it,
Yeah.
and that's fine. That's how they come to the mat, and that's great.
Yeah.
I know when I first started out, I was all about the physical,
Mhm.
and now I'm just like, oh, a new sutra. Oh, excellent. You know, something like that. You know, and
Absolutely.
so that sort of floats my boat now, but it didn't always.
Yeah.
So I get that as well.
I
Yeah.
came because my doctor said, you have arthritis, you need to move.
Right. So
And then I got drawn in.
And that's what I love about this approach is people can come for whatever they want and whatever the condition they're in, we can support them at whatever their learning style is. People have different learning styles and things like that. And it's a collaborative, so like we all learn from each other. If somebody has a difficulty or a reason they can't do a pose a certain way, I'm like, okay, gather around, this is what we'll do.
Yeah.
Right? And support the student at the same time, let everyone learn. So
And it's a great environment because it never is, Pat can't do something, so we're going to show you how. It's more,
Right.
let's all figure out
Oh,
how we
I
can
actually
make this.
get gleeful. You know? Oh, good. Another reason for an adaptation. you know?
Absolutely.
So instead of, okay, let's stop the presses and, adapt here, no, it's like, oh, yes, stop everybody, we're going to gather around, look at all these wonderful adaptations. And no, I mean, it is a passion of mine, and that's what I bring to my practice and to my teaching. So.
And I think that's what we wanted to kind of emphasize here is that this training in particular is for every person who's even remotely interested.
Exactly.
Because you'll learn so much.
Right. And I think that a lot of people, they think of a teacher training and they look at some of the requirements and they go, oh, it's been a long time since I've been in, this school, and what about homework? Well, homework is nothing more than getting on the mat and experiencing the poses and doing the reading so that you're more informed, so you can ask questions. It's an efficiency use of your time and mine as well,
Yeah.
right? So that's what homework is. It isn't like I'm going to grade you. I've never graded homework for yoga training. I'm not going to start now, right?
Right.
So, it's not. I think we get a lot of mindsets about what it is and what it isn't, and that's this program is actually a great venue or an arena for you to really kind of figure out, ask the questions you want to know and be inquisitive. And it's not about, being perfect. That's
No,
the big thing.
It
right?
absolutely isn't. And one of the other things is if you feel that compulsion to be perfect, you have a mentor who's assigned to you who can kind of talk you off that ledge.
Right, talk you off the ledge.
And
Exactly.
I still...
And actually, if people want to be perfect, I'm okay with that,
Yeah. I mean, if that floats your boat, you go ahead and do it. But the cool thing is you're assigned someone so that if you get to a point where you feel you're a little
overwhelmed.
intimidated or, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this, you have someone to go to
Right,
that's kind of like your
Exactly.
study buddy, and they've been there and they can help you.
right. And I think that's one of our gems of this program.
Oh, yeah.
Of Prairie's program in general, is that we have a mentorship. And it isn't just, you just look at your homework. Nope, the mentors show up.
Yeah.
They know what you're doing in your practice. They help with the photos, as you know, our things are documented and whatnot. No, they have a presence. They have a very specific presence in the training themselves. And I think that's important.
It
So
is,
I
and
think
it
really adds
is,
value.
it really is a connection. Because every time I see Carolyn,
Right.
she was my mentor,
Right.
I still
Right.
have that bond.
Yes, I've mentored people through the years, and they still come back to me and ask me questions now and
Yeah.
things like that, and they let me know what they're doing and all that thing, or what do I think and that kind of thing. So mentoring is quite a privilege, right? And because we really have a very strong mentorship program in the Prairie Yoga program, I think it's what kind of sets it apart from other trainings.
Yes, it does. So if you had a Reader's Digest moment where you could encapsulate what your philosophy and style is as a teacher, what would you tell us?
Well, the first thing is my motto. And that is that I truly believe that yoga meets you where you are. And that the second thing that I like to say that it's an environment of understanding and compassion, and understand that this might be new, and call in yoga therapy training, we call it safe space.
Mhm.
So I create safe space for every person in there to do the transformation, to have the ups and the downs and the feelings of, you know, maybe being overwhelmed or whatever. It's all there and it's all okay, you know. So that's one thing. And then really I would say that my style is a culmination of a lot of different things. It's alignment based. I started off as a vinyasa, so I have vinyasa skills, which helps me with sequencing, right? So the flow part of it. And you know, alignment based, and then I train in somatic, so that's breaking things down into very small movements and then stabilizing through those movements and then adding load. So that's actually how I break down the poses, right? And then also the last thing is that I bring my therapeutic approach to even just the way I think of a pose. It's not about looking at the full pose and then saying, well, you know, I actually look at the pose, break it down in my own mind, and then build it back up. So that by the time you get there, you're very stable. You know, I've prepared you. I prepared whatever body parts you need to be prepared to do the poses, so you're less likely to get injured or anything like that. So I'd say that's my forte, actually.
Yeah, I would agree. Having been to many of your classes myself,
Right.
You can do more. What's it? There's more in your future.
Exactly. Always. That's my motto.
Exactly.
There's always more in your future. So,
Yes, I was paying attention.
yes, yes, you were.
So at the bottom of the screen is going to be an information on how to contact Just Breathe Yoga for signing up for the training. We look forward to hearing from you. It is a great opportunity to expand your own practice. It's a great opportunity to expand, if you are a teacher, to learn something new to bring to your students. We hope to see you at the studio soon. Namaste.